Hello, I'm Fenwick McKelvey. The Metaverse became a lot more real for me when my local diner joined it. The place is not exactly high-tech. I expect to pay in cash. So I was surprised that the owner would buy into a future built on cryptocurrency by purchasing a small tract of virtual property that you could visit online. Even better if you had virtual reality goggles. With its plot in the Metaverse, also known as Web3, the owner hoped that customers would eat food in its online restaurant. Now, how you'd be able to eat food while wearing VR goggles is for another talk. For now, what I'd like to talk about is how the Metaverse became a lot more personal for me. By buying the plot, my Montreal diner was sharing the same future as Facebook, or now Meta, who introduced the term Metaverse to sell us a future where we live as digital avatars, working and playing in the company's private domain. This is where my beloved diner parted ways with me, by joining what I think is a careless way to imagine society with technology, the corporate metaverse, and missing a clear alternative, what I'll describe as the commons. We've forgotten about the commons. That's something that's become obvious for me through my collaborations with our research group, Machine Agencies at the Milieu Institute, looking into what a commons could be like for artificial intelligence. And today I'm happy to announce that we've launched our first report, Imagining an AI Commons, to coincide with this talk. The commons is a way to describe that which we share, our ways to communicate, our being together. It's also a vision of public good, public participation, something we should share and care for. 2 years into our pandemic, the commons feels very virtual, but it's very real. Public networks, shared software, everything that seems to go wrong when you're on a Zoom call, those are the commons that we depend upon every day. And we used to talk about the commons all the time when the internet was first imagined. It was thought to be an information commons. But now all that collaboration and cooperation that keeps the actual internet online is being bypassed by this talk of the metaverse. The metaverse is built on certain assumptions that run counter to the very possibility of public good. It's trying to build, or rather rebuild, our world around absolute ownership and property, all tracked on one blockchain or another. The motivation comes from an underlying distrust of the common good. Without property, the story goes, humans would ruin shared resources, so we cannot have public goods. That's the argument for the tragedy of the commons. The metaverse is something of the tragedy of the commons, when we can only imagine our future intractably caught up in property rights and virtual real estate scams like the one that my local diner has fallen prey to, just as it survived the pandemic. You know, the metaverse is a lot of things. The terms that describe the metaverse, blockchain, non-fungible tokens, and all those other things. These terms matter less than the underlying proposal to use technology to rebuild society. But it should be the other way around. What's missing too much when we imagine our futures is that we let them be technical rather than social. For every pitch of a new technology now, what's really being proposed is a vision for our society. Technologies demand power, politics, and commons to use them. The challenge for us is not to build a new virtual world, but to imagine a better world with the one we have now. Flipping thinking of technology as speculative to one about thinking about relations, something that I better understand as I learn more about indigenous epistemologies to technology. Unlike the virtual nature of the metaverse, the commons is a call to think about the land, the power, the data, the people, the things. Even for those who are familiar with my past work on internet demons, all those technologies that enable artificial intelligence, fantasies like the metaverse. Right now, for example, work being done by the Milieu Solar Media Group is experimenting with solar power and what it means to build technology that matches the Earth's cycles. They're building solar-powered servers, maybe solar-powered Game Boys, to make technology fit the better world that we have. I want to argue that we can have nice things, that we can have a commons, one that demands cooperation to be effectively managed, public governance and public investment, That's part of my hope for Concordia's new Applied AI Institute, to think about the applied part of AI as the beginning, not the end, to imagine better worlds first, then applications. That's why the Commons is both part of what's been past and what's next. We can't let our conversations about thinking about the common good and what we need to do to support it be derailed by another round of investor talks and get-rich-quick pitches. We are at a critical time to build public digital infrastructure, to invest in our commons, to see the true value of technology as community, which might seem a lot pretty far away from my local diner, but I'm much more interested in my neighborhood block than the blockchain these days. Thank you very much, and thanks to Harriet and Wallace for watching.